Welcome back to Modified Fate. This is our second MCP podcast. Also, we just had our second MCP tournament. I'm with Wheelman and Blackcraft again.
Hello.
And
I think Wheelman's asleep.
that's all good. So we went to a tournament at AFK Games in Holt, Michigan. Is that right? I don't remember what city it was.
It's like just south of Lansing, so I was calling it Lansing the entire way there.
It's a really nice store.
It's like if you're in the minis, it's a pretty great store. They have like tons of stock, tons of like
Terrain
not
and mats and everything you could needed to use.
hobby stuff, like specialty hobby stuff. Like I saw they had it just happened to be it was like a little texture mat you put on your
Oh, I
green
can't hear either
stuff.
of you.
Oh, I think we've lost Wheelman.
He said he can't hear us. But no, I think it's great. And of course they have the usual magic, Pokemon,
Yeah.
Lorcana, that stuff.
And they obviously have somebody they know with a laser cutter because like all their sorting stuff was in MDF board. Pretty cool. So it was 18 people. It's a pretty big tournament. A lot of good players. We'll get to Wheelman whenever he can hear us again.
I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
Discord decided that I just needed to reapply my headphone setting, so
Okay.
random.
So I took Guardians, Agent Venom, Beta Ray Bill, Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, Thor 2, and Drax are the only ones I played. I didn't end up using Angela, Ronin, or Scarlet Witch. But I had Brace for Impact, Sacrifice, Foreign Assignment, Galaxy's Greatest, We Are Groot, Deadly Duo, Lovable Misfits, Recal, and The Whims of Chaos, and Fallback. And secures were Sword Base, Cosmic Invasion, Infinity Formula, Extracts, Fear Grips, Deadly Legacy Virus, and Struggle for the Cube. Looks like Blackcraft brought Shield.
Yep, of course. So I got Nick Fury Jr., Namor, who I actually played as my leader all day, Agent Venom, Iron Man, Nick Fury Sr., Spectacular Spider-Man, Black Widow, Black Bolt, Crimson Dynamo, and Baron Zemo. I didn't play Junior, Senior, or Crimson Dynamo all day. I played combinations.
That is shocking.
I went full bubble. We never got 20 points. It was never appropriate. For tactics, it's pretty standard shield stuff. Brace for impact, sacrifice, fallback, hard reset, sit rep, battlefield medicine, eye in the sky, Stark armory, Helios laser, and invaders. And now that I think about it, I did play Junior once in my second game. Then Demons, Gamma Wave, Infinity Formula, Research Station, Montesi, and Fear, also known as Hammers.
Yep. Do you have your list there, Wheelman?
Yeah, I have my character list. I don't have the extracts and things that I played, but I played Asgard. Had Heimdall, Lady Sif, Loki, Prince of Lies, Scourge, Mighty Thor, Thor Hero Midgard, Crimson Dynamo, Wong. And then I subbed out a couple from this list. I had Immortal Hulk and what was my 10th? I don't remember. I don't think I played it anyway. But yeah, and like I said, I don't have my extracts and secures in here.
Let's go to your first game here, Blackcraft.
My first game, let me open it myself here. All right. So first round I played. It's not letting me open it, but I played against X-Men, and he played. Let me think here. He played Storm X-Men, and he had Rogue, Wolverine, Psylocke, and Iceman, I believe. I don't think I missed anything there. Um, this was actually a pretty good game, despite the fact that I had a crushing victory point lead at the end of it, because he started out with 5-1. I ended up playing Namor, Black Bolt, Baron Zemo, uh, Black Widow, and Spidey, Spectacular Spider-Man. And Deadly Meteors is like it's like a horizontal E. It's a little it's got a little turn twist to it. So I figured basically playing Namor Bunker, and that's basically what I did play all day. Played versions of that. Um, so he started out pretty hot with 2 of the extracts. Let's see. And he stole basically he had all the secures, so it started out 5-1 in the first round. Second round, basically, just managed to daze enough characters to sort of pull even. Third round, I retained priority, despite everything else, and KO'd Storm on the third round. Spidey just kept pushing Wolverine away, who was getting very full of power. And then in the last round, basically, Black Bolt whispered and knocked out 2 characters and KO'd one. So I literally grabbed everything and walked away. So it wasn't a bad game. It wasn't as one-sided as it may sound, because he had a really good lead. It was just I basically just trusted in the system, which is stick everybody in the Namor Zemo invaders bubble and just roll defense dice, and then roll attack dice, like re-roll attack dice, and just bunker down and hold on for dear life. And it worked.
Nice. My first game was my first experience against Web Warriors. I played Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, Agent Venom, and Drax. This is the one game I played Drax. And he had Miles Morales, Spectacular Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, Baron Zemo, and Black Cat. We played 15. He won priority and the game because of it, because he never gave it back to me.
So yeah, he had the dream, basically, right?
Yeah. So I basically just run Drax straight at him. I'm like, daze this guy so I can have priority. So we're just scoring 9 a turn because it's spider infected sword base. So he gets up 5-4, and then the second round is 5-4 again, and then I flip it to 6-3, and then he finally dazes Drax and Agent Venom in the same turn. So I have less actions to do than him, and he takes the sword base away from me and wins the game. Spideys don't fight; they just scenario.
Yeah,
Oh, there
yeah,
you
and that's
go.
Web Warriors for you, right?
Yeah. I did feel pretty good because Guardians can at least move forward, shoot them every turn.
Hmm.
And then Jared also had a close game.
Yeah, I had a great game to start it off, and then nothing good happened the rest of the day. Played Kaz. She was the top rated player as far as Longshanks is concerned there. Playing Web Warriors as well. we played. I guess I'll give you the overall. We played 17 threat, and it ended up being 19 to 20. I just barely got eked out, but she was great. She was super helpful. But this game, I actually like it all. I felt like I knew what I was doing, and it sort of just clicked for me. So she was playing Web Warriors, like I said. I think it was Miles, Black Cat. Is it Incredible Spider-Man? Yeah, Incredible Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man. That's what
Amazing. Okay.
Is that the 3.1?
I could have sworn she kept saying Incredible. Is that not a character?
It might be.
No, not
Okay.
versions of Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
It's,
What was the one? Oh, Nightcrawler. That was the one that
maybe she had
throughout the game.
Amazing Spider-Man.
That must have been it. I have my notes down wrong then. But anyway, I played Heimdall, Scourge, Mighty Thor as leader, Wong, and Sif. Those were my 5. We had talked about it the night before, you and I, and that was my play into 17, and it worked. So it was 6-4 after 1. Nothing really happened. It was just a scoring turn. So going into top of 2, I stunned Miles like right off the bat with Thor. So this is sort of where her dice started going pretty cold, and it was, I don't want to say it was nice, but it was painful because I know the feeling. Especially, it just seems like my dice are always cold. So for me to actually be rolling well and to see somebody else not rolling well, I understood. Heimdall got absolutely crapped on by Nightcrawler and Brimstone. He's squishy, and he was pretty much useless the whole game. My Sif took out Stunder Medusa in turn 2, but she did a fallback play that the cube dropped out of range for me to pick it up. So that would have been it would have forced our top of 2 into 10-10 instead of 11-9. So 11-9 going into top of 3. Heimdall got KO'd right away by Nightcrawler. Brimstone sucks. I have that in my notes.
Yeah, Nightcrawler's so lethal.
He's an absolute weapon. I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit. I set up an incredible Rainbow Bridge play. It went exactly how I wanted it to. I think she sort of knew what I was going for, but not really. But I played a little out of position because I knew that I was going to have a range 3 move with 3 of my characters, being Scourge, Sif, and Thor. I do want to backtrack a little bit to turn 2. I had a play where Thor was in the middle. I did an attack. After the Miles stun, I decided to back out. If I had positioned Thor a little better to control a point instead of being off of it, I wasn't thinking far enough ahead because I wanted to move Scourge off the point. That would have been another 1-point swing. So there's a couple of plays right there where I'm behind 2 points. But anyway, going back to turn 3, played my Rainbow Bridge. Basically had Scourge. I don't know if I had 2 attacks or not. I think I had 1, and it was a Scourge attack into Black Cat for the game, basically, and to win, not necessarily to lose, but to win. And I left her alive on 1. She stole the cube off of Scourge. The cube killed her. She dropped it. I picked it up top of next turn, but she had a healthy Black Cat to start, and it just didn't quite happen. But I had a chance to win. That's all I could ask for. And then yeah, her dice really fell off. My Sif survived 3 brimstones from Nightcrawler in a row to be alive on 1. She's pretty tanky. But Medusa came in, finished her off. Threw Wong off the point. So took another point away from me. Incredible Spider-Man, amazing Spider-Man threw Jane off of her point and then moved back to hold hers or his, I guess. So I didn't have the range or power to make a charge or get back in, so it ended up being 19-20. But I felt really good about it and had a really good game, and I was flying high after that one.
Yeah, you were pretty
that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then I was punked. I'll just go into my round 2.
Okay. Yep.
Because I faced is it Webheads or
Web Warriors? Yeah.
Web Warriors again, and this time we played at 16 threat. I had a choice between 16 and 20, and I was concerned about the mobility already. So I figured if I gave up even another character on the board, I was going to be really in trouble. Turns out it wouldn't have mattered, but played at 16. I played Mighty Thor, Hero Thor, Scourge, and Heimdall. Yeah. And after 1, it was 3-6. He just did it. He had Black Cat as well. It was almost the same team minus Nightcrawler. Spider Woman and Ghost Spider. He had 5 to my 4, even at 16. Spider Woman was really good. But anyway, he did some, movement shenanigans, and it was 3-6, top of 2. My Thor, my Hero Thor, absolutely obliterated Spider Woman with a size 4 throw. He had already burned his brace for impact. But both of my Thors actually missed their attacks. I think it was a total of 3 attacks into Ghost Spider. And that completely lost me the game right there, because he was able to advance, pick up a secure, and then fall back, basically with her movement abilities. So I that was 2 points I lost there. So it was 5-12 end of that turn. And then I went full, I have to do something, so I just moved everybody off of what they were controlling. But he just took Black Cat and Spider-Man and just went and hid in the corner. And I forget the name of it, but he was gaining 3 points off of the extracts by them being in cohesion with each other, basically.
Yeah, the paranoia.
Yeah, so he was just racking them up, and I couldn't get to him. So I just, instead of chasing when I realized it was going bad, I just played for an extra couple of victory points in case a tiebreaker mattered. But I ended up losing 9-17, and it was never close.
Yeah, you went from the highs of your first game to the lowest in that second one.
It was. I might as well not even played, because as soon as there was 9 points to score, and he was 1 model up on me, and he had a couple long movers, there was just no hope for me.
It seems like you got the best game against.
I got the best game against probably the best overall player there, and then I got the worst game against a guy that was very new. So it was the ultimate high and low
versus the same team. Well, now you have more experience versus Web Warriors than I do at this rate. So
yeah, and I told Kaz when I first saw her, because we had just talked about Namor being a splash, and she had him in her list, but couldn't quite fit him in at 17 for what she wanted to do. So maybe if Namor had been in there, the game wouldn't have gone so well. But yeah, I And then, yeah, like I said, I was never in that competition. So that was unfortunate, and it was just going through the motions, but it's just part of it. Bad matchup.
And my round 2 was the most miserable game I've ever played of MCP. I played against what I'm calling the brick wall Avenger list. So I had Star-Lord, Rocket Groot, Thor 2, and Bill. He had Steve Rogers 1, Hulk 1, Cable, and Shadowcat. So basically, anytime I would attack him, Cable would add 2 dice, Shadowcat would add 2 dice, and if I was attacking Shadowcat, she would add a third dice. So he was rolling 7 to 8 defense dice on almost every attack I made against him. It was miserable. But I did manage to daze 3 of his characters, so I felt pretty good about that. But it was also hammers, so he was beating the crap out of me also. I did make some errors in this game. Like, I didn't grab a midline hammer with my first activation, which is a no-no. So Hulk grabbed one, and then Shadowcat grabbed the other. So he had 3 hammers and 2 sword bases turn 1, and I had 2 sword bases and a hammer. And it basically stayed like that for the game until he started killing my guys. Yeah,
Cool.
so I attacked Hulk at one point, and he added 4 dice to his physical defense. He rolled 8 dice, and then he re-rolled 8 dice because Hulk does that. And I was just over there like, yeah, you block 8, I'm hitting you twice. This is great.
Yeah.
He was a really good player. He's one of the people that went undefeated. I got paired up here for some reason.
Very up, apparently. Today I learned Cable has Avengers affiliation.
Yeah. But he was a very good opponent. Like, we were talking random combos in the game that I hadn't necessarily thought of. Like Venomized Magneto, which I will definitely be trying. He knows his stuff though. He had some alt models. I forget the name of the Hulk he was using.
It sort of looked like a
Mr. Fix-It,
Mr.
I
Hyde.
think. Yeah.
But he said that him and his wife do commission painting, I think. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
his stuff was pretty well done.
Yep. It was a lot of fun after the game. Not during.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, he said his buddy is tired of playing against it, so this was its last hurrah. So now I'm going to use it.
And now we're going to inflict it upon the locals at our next event, and they will be upset.
Mm-hmm.
So my round 2 was versus Brotherhood. It was Mystique Brotherhood. We played 18 Threat, Hammers, and Extremis. He seemed relatively new, but he was clearly like aware of some of the stuff. So he went really wide. He played like every Brotherhood 3 threat. So it was like
Dang.
Mystique, Pyro, Blob, Toad, Quicksilver, I think was everybody. I played Nick Fury Jr., Namor, and I went with Invaders. Tony, Nick Fury Sr. I guess I did play everything in my list that day. Except for Crimson Dynamo. And who else did I have? I feel like I'm Spectacular Spider-Man. So he started he was pretty new because he was a little confused about how some of the cover rules worked. was like, yeah, if you move this far away, you have to be within 1, that kind of thing. So round 1, he basically brought me a hammer because he picked one up with, I think it was Rogue. He was playing Rogue. Rogue was his biggest character. And basically brought her middle where there was nothing. It was a no man's land. And then he had Blob on the side. And it was pretty back and forth. The biggest thing is as characters were getting KO'd, there wasn't really any big play. Except I would charge Namor in and then use his spender to give him a short move out. And then he'd walk back into basically cover range from Nick Fury Sr. And Iron Man, who would push the threats away. So basically, that run-in would dagger Rogue, who was his biggest threat, and then he'd walk out. Towards the end, he abandoned basically the left side of the board from my view. My Nick Fury Sr. had taken no damage and no attacks that entire game, and he tried to contest that point with Quicksilver. Quicksilver was injured at this point, and it was like, okay, well, I win that point. And so inadvertently, the winning move was, I'm taking my Iron Man over to the point that you just left, and now I have that point and the point you ran onto. So he just wasn't aware, really, of the board state then. There was no big crazy plays because we basically just walked at each other and started shooting and hitting. The biggest annoyance was Blob. If you let Blob get off, what is it? The thunderous
Splash.
Thunderous splash. It will push everybody, and it will be very annoying, even if it does no damage. I will learn this lesson in a much more harsh way in round 3. But otherwise, there wasn't really any spectacular plays. It was just at the very end, it was like, oh, well, if I move over here, I get this point, and that's what I needed to win game. Right there.
Yeah. I feel like that healthy contesting thing is probably the easiest thing to forget about.
Yep. Yeah, because he didn't forget about it because that was the whole point of his Quicksilver running over was to contest the point. He was trying to knock out Iron Man, sure, at the same time, but he was like trying to do double duty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, if I leave here, I have Fury Senior, the Commandos on the point, and they haven't been touched all game. And then I just move Iron Man away to the place you left. That's a 2-point swing for me.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I guess I win. Because I figured it out after once we were counting up points. I was like, wait, I injured because Spider-Man and there was one point where the reason his Quicksilver was injured is because I was getting tired of getting splashed away by his blob, so I just moved Spider-Man, literally web swing move, attack, throw an item into Mystique to get her to KO her. And that helped swing the game, but I was very tired of getting my models splashed away by Blob, particularly my Spidey.
Vader.
So, yeah, so then he tries to follow with Quicksilver and Blob and leaves that point, and that's just where I turned it into a point swing.
Yep. And then your 2-0 match for the win.
So we'll go into round 3, and I'm vaguely convinced if I had won this, I would have won the tournament, but I don't know. Tiebreakers, I don't know.
You were ranked first going into this round.
So I played versus a very nice guy who they just called D. He played Shield also. He was playing a much more. He's like a not like a typical meta, like a very he's very aware of how the game plays meta because he also brought Blob. in his shield list, which I thought was peculiar. He also had some other spider people in his list. And so we got demons downtown, which I thought was perfect because I've been playing Namor Shield Bubble this whole day, and an E secure is perfect. And at 19, I don't care. But I thought he was bringing a ton of spider people to the match, so I brought in Agent Venom, and he didn't. He basically played normal, boring Shield. He played Nick Fury Jr., Black Widow 2, or Black Widow 3, Blob, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Toad. And then basically just played a keep away game between Toad and Fury. Fury throwing out agents and letting them die to keep tossing things back. The biggest thing was I almost had I had dazed his Blob round 1 thanks to Black Bolt, who I brought into the match. And then round 2, basically Blob was powered up, so when he splashed, he completely broke apart the entire bubble. And then when I tried to finish Blob off, I couldn't quite deal enough damage, and then he battlefield medicined Blob. He sacrificed for Blob. He kept his Blob alive, and they then basically went into round 3 with Blob sitting on a fair amount of power, splashed again, and I literally was basically splashed back into my deployment zone. Finally killed Blob, started making moves, and then time was called. So we ended 10-6. If we had another round, I was convinced I was going to win because I KO'd. Everybody on his team was dazed except for Toad. And Spidey was KO'd, Blob was KO'd, and I had everybody on my team basically healthy. And I would have run crazy in damage, but just time got called. I couldn't catch everybody. Couldn't make the play. I guess in the future I could have played more aggressively. I don't know how, because really what got me was the thunderous splash pushes. But he was a nice guy. We went to time. Trying to think of anything other significant that went down. Oh, the other thing that killed me. So I'm trying to make it back up the board, and the best way I figured I could do it was with Black Bolt has Master Punch, which lets him place next to a character after dealing damage. So then I dealt like 7 damage to Spidey and didn't get the place. I was like, oh, I really needed that to get to the point and to continue playing. So Black Bolt basically stood there and just walked because nothing else was there.
It's an after damage place? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, because it's a throw. It's also a throw.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar to $1 Billion Punch from Invincible Iron Man. Black Bolt dealt damage. It's after the attack is resolved, actually. It's not after the
that's
damage
worse.
is resolved. So when I basically exploded on Spider-Man with that punch, it was like, okay, I guess I won't contribute anything this turn with the rest of Black Bolt, because if Black Bolt isn't shooting, he's not moving. And not moving is he needs to be in the thick of it, and he just couldn't. He wasn't there because he'd been pushed away 1 billion times. So that was it. Like, he didn't play the spiders. I tried to meta him, and he didn't play his spiders. And then Blob became my most hated character of all time that day. And my Black Bolt kills too good. Those are the lessons I took away.
Cool. Would you like to do our pairing, Jared?
Lucas and I got paired together, and he took his frustrations out on me and beat me 26-7, I think.
9, it says up here.
26-9. He basically bent me over the barrel and showed me the 50 states. So, yeah, not much to say. Fucking Bill has is too survivable, but that's about all he does.
Yeah. He kept
I had Hulk
getting to where it would be 1 or 2 damage on Bill, so Bill would reduce it to 0 or to 1. So Bill lived way longer than he should have.
But yeah, I played Immortal Hulk and the 2 Thors at 18, which is allegedly supposed to be killy, and I couldn't kill a single thing. So it was. I smacked around Star-Lord a little bit, but
Yeah, Star-Lord died.
Wasn't good.
Yeah, I had Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, the core, then Bill and Thor 2. And Bill just tanked everything, and I scored points. And
you exploded with the cure.
Yeah, he eventually did get Bill down, so Bill dropped 2 cures, which Hulk picked up. And then Thor 2 dazed Hulk, getting the other 2 cures so that he could explode during cleanup. That's how I got to 26, because I was at 13.
You scored 13, yeah.
And then I scored 7 from the thing and then 6 from the explosion.
Yep, not much to talk about.
Yep.
Pretty miserable day for me, but it was a good place. I'll definitely go back for another one.
Yeah, they have a lot of events. Like there's a Malifaux event coming up and all sorts of things. Shall we talk about the drive home, Blackcraft? Since you tried to kill us multiple times.
He was so tilted from losing that he tried to kill us.
Yeah. All right, so I apparently have I was 2-0 and I was getting well, I don't know what you call it. I was nervous. I was getting I don't know what you call it. Performance anxiety.
And mind you, there was nothing on the line at this tournament.
There's nothing except
we didn't even score
credit.
But
I wanted to win. So in my last round, as enjoyable and as fine as a round it was, I walked into it with a tummy ache, and it didn't really leave until we basically left the venue. And so I'm frazzled, hungry, and in need of caffeination. So
goes to turn up a wrong way road.
It was so I left.
It was a Michael Scott moment.
Yeah,
I left navigation to Cheese, who's like, "All right, turn it this road." All right, I was like, "Okay, no problem." And then I proceeded to talk about everything else under the sun and completely missed the exit.
Yeah.
So we had to go an additional 6 minutes out of our way because we had to go 3 minutes down and 3 minutes back just to get on the right exit.
Go 3 minutes south, yeah.
And then, now that Cheese is in charge of navigation again, he tries to tell me I need to turn. I turn too early and start going basically up the wrong ramp. Well, I don't go up the ramp. I started turning to go up the wrong ramp onto the highway. Caught myself near into incoming traffic, went back into the median, and then had to travel down to turn left.
Oh, God.
To be fair, the median was a turn lane, so it wasn't like we were driving on a concrete berm, but
right,
it was
it was a turn. The thing is, okay, so in my brain, aside from being upset and distracted, in my brain, I was like, oh, it's just a curve up. I curve up onto it. And instead,
that curve would have took us north, by the way.
That curve would have took us into more oncoming traffic than the oncoming traffic we were already in. Luckily, no one got hurt.
Yeah.
But we went and had Mexican food.
I had a very large margarita after that.
And I had a beer. I needed to.
When we go back, if and when we go back, that is, I want to say that Mexican place needs to be our.
Yeah, that was a very good place.
Spot.
Yeah.
I just picked a random place. Where was it? It was in
some off little town.
Get the name of it now.
It's like the
Charlotte.
It's got the same name as Charlotte. But yeah, it was a fantastic Mexican place.
So our go-to. And our
Can I
lunch
ask-
that day was great also.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we had a local brewery.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Do you think you should have called for the judge because of the speed of play?
I didn't want to be. No, I don't think.
It's
I guess
pretty
since
casual.
literally nothing
yeah.
was on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we had clocks, I would have had plenty of time, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to be. Look, the dude was an older dude. He's not like elderly.
Yeah, and
He's
he's
not like
extremely nice. Yeah.
he's super nice, but he did have shaky hands. So there were times where I was holding down things for him, helping him measure, moving either his model or holding his measuring stick for him. So things would get placed appropriately, and he had to be very methodical himself in placing some of his sticks. And I'm probably making it sound a lot worse than it is. Actually, it wasn't that bad, but I can remember 2 or 3 times where it's like ponderous play, and I'm trying to help I'm trying to be a good sport, right?
Mhm.
I'm trying to help make sure the game's appropriately played. So I don't think it was that slow. I think maybe we just both played slow, and it just ended up that way. I do remember, I guess if anything, we were slow to start the game. He
Sure.
wanted to switch sides, which he
Oh yeah, that
lost
slows it quite
priority.
a bit. Yeah.
So that was his choice. And then it took us a while to get our
Did you-
characters on board and start. So
Did your map have the token placements on it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Because
I didn't have one the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks when you miss it.
I know they were working with what they had, but that would be another consideration, especially with time limit. Is
Yeah.
like you can't hold the people that have to place their tokens to the same time limit. I don't think.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think it was I don't think it was him in particular. I think it was just the way it went, man. It was just a ton of little things
Sure.
that we went to time. And if you look at his other games, they look like they went to time too, because they were all low scoring, below 16 games. So it's
Well,
just a play style, I guess. Like
the reason I ask is because my round 2 opponent, like I said, he was newer, but he was fast and he was very loose with his measuring sticks, I guess I'll say.
Mhm.
To the point where it was actually starting to frustrate me. And if it had been something, if there was something on the line, I might have actually said something. I don't remember him placing a model that was actually touching the end of his measuring tool.
Dang.
So I don't know. It sort of rubbed me the wrong way, and I was getting my ass beat, so I was getting really frustrated.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and maybe it's because it's new. And if you end up hearing this, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but that's definitely something that needs to be cleaned up
Yep.
if you're gonna play competitive. Because I always make sure, I try to do my best to get the proper placement to within, I guess it'd be a couple millimeters or whatever, but
yeah, same. I'm not
that
trying
can
to
matter over the course of a game. So
Mhm.
I missed a move against Kaz by probably an eighth of an inch, and if I had squeaked out a couple, extra movements throughout the course of the game, it might have been different. So just something to keep in mind if any of those guys end up hearing this. But overall, good day.
Yeah, not trying to be rude or question. Like it's just something that happened that
Mhm.
I don't know, because I'm like, man, went to time. For me, it's like, man, my last game went to time. I'm pretty sure I would have won if I had another round. So of course I go back and I scrutinize every little moment that looked like it took a little more time.
Yep.
So that's just me being Mr. I don't know, competitive sore loser type.
Mhm. We're all just trying to be better. That's what it's all is. So now that our second tournament is over, are you guys sticking with Shield and Asgard, or are you switching around?
I'm sticking with Black Bolt.
So you're going Inhumans?
I almost want to look at Inhumans and see how I can maybe get them to play a wider game. The problem is every time lately that I've been looking at a team, they're all, and this is including Apocalypse coming out, it's everybody wants to play ease straight down the middle, just bubble of characters and shove them. Like, so, and humans have that bad despite being pretty good. But I'm sticking with I might stick with Shield. I'm looking forward to Apocalypse. I already have my backup team for when Apocalypse is awful for me. But I am on Team Black Bolt.
I mean, you did beat me with Black Bolt, so
Dude, it's just he's good. He's defensive. He's tough. And if you flip him and he gets a 10 power beam on more than one person, like he will wipe. That's what I did in my first game. It's like, okay, I stunned 2 characters and KO'd 1.
Yep.
The Whisper. Believe in the Whisper. Fear the Whisper.
I'm putting together a sort of revamped winter guard.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm good enough player to make Asgard work. I hang out in the Discord a little bit now, like the main one, and the stuff those guys are talking about, I don't think I'm quite there yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'm a good enough player to get by on a high tax leadership cost.
Yeah.
Like nothing's below a 5. So
I really dislike that about Asgard.
I think that really hurts me being fairly new. So I'm revamping my winter guard basically until Halloween, and then when the Dracula and all that stuff comes out, I'm gonna give that a go.
Nice. So a couple months of winter guard.
I mean, I'm not gonna not play Asgard, but I just
the winter of Winter Guard.
I just don't know if they're the right team for me right now. So
that's fair.
Because for me, Thor never hits like a freight truck. He throws stuff, and that's cool, but I've never had him pop off. So
yeah, he's popped
maybe
off
it's just
on
more
you.
reps. But yeah, he definitely pops off on me.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe it's just more reps, but I think I'm gonna. I played more game like I played the most games with Winter Guard, and they, in theory, they'll be good into Apocalypse, so might not be a bad fallback to try out.
Yeah, I think if you get more ease into your list, it'll be better for your Winter Guard.
Yeah. Because I got a few beams, but
can I also mention that the whole day I played Namor, and it was basically just his water base because I broke him right at the start of the day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he went to put his token container on top of his box where he keeps his models, and the lid wasn't on there.
And it just and of course Namor's taller than everything, so he took all of it. And so I basically played the water base the entire day.
Yeah.
So
dude, I literally where did we hear that like we would get like points for painted?
I read it on
early,
the
like,
event page.
Happened.
Yeah, I read it on the event page that there were raffle tickets for
Was
coming.
this their like first event?
It must be because it said you get a ticket for coming 15 minutes early, so we showed up super early. And a ticket for being fully painted, so we were all fully painted.
Yeah, especially for the event to not even be scoring or scoreable on Longshanks.
Yeah, that's all right. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, we still walked out with some. I got a foil. What was it? Nightcrawler and Bishop.
Yeah,
I think I got.
I think those are the 2 I grabbed because Nightcrawler.
Oh, I grabbed Iceman because I'm gonna play him with Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I grabbed Nightcrawler and Bishop. I was gonna grab Shadowcat, but I was still pretty angry at her for my round 2.
These foil cards are sick.
Yeah, I'm moving on to the ladies and A-Force next. We'll see how long I stay there, but a 6-point leader will probably turn me off pretty quickly.
Yeah, you start to get hives when a 4-cost leader happens upon. Where are you going to manage a 6?
Yeah. So if that doesn't work out, I'll probably go to Criminal Syndicate. I don't know.
I think I'm looking there on your screen. I think Warlock might be a good. They were talking about maybe Warlock or X23 being good, or not X23. Weapon X being decent additions to Asgard. So,
Oh, okay.
because I had Crimson Dynamo, which I would just take him out, and Hulk, obviously. So I have 2 spots in my Asgard roster that might benefit from a couple more cheap guys.
Yeah. I think Lockjaw would be pretty good for Asgard. Get your guys up the board a little bit.
That could help too. Heimdall, I don't think I even teleported with him because he wants power, but he's not beefy enough to survive.
Yeah, he's
attacks that
extremely
have
power hungry.
So, I'm not sure. Well, I think they missed on his character design a little bit, but I used Wong a little bit to power him in the first game, but he almost needs a battery, which because he can't really take attacks.
Yeah,
So.
when Lockjaw's the same cost and he can do it by himself, it's just better.
And I don't even think I didn't even get to use his bubble for the all-seeing eyes. So, like I said, it was he did not inspire me at all.
All right, can we talk about how bad Weapon X is for a little bit?
Weapon X, the character.
Yes.
So yeah, I maybe if he was like 2 cost.
I just don't get it.
It's supposed to be like a missile, but he doesn't do like missile damage. I don't see. I mean,
so his builder doesn't give you power equal to damage dealt. Just 1 power. Has Pierce. Has it gains a dice if you use it a second time. But then he has charge, which is okay. Adamantium skeleton, it's the typical Wolverine thing. But then Savage Protocols. He can't pick up, hold, contest, or interact with extract objectives. And while he's within 1 of a secure objective, he hits harder, but then he's paper. And healing factor 3 with 5 hit points on both sides is pretty lackluster.
2 physical defense and 1 energy defense means he will probably take someone down and then immediately be taken down by your opponent's Wong.
Yeah, by Wong. Oh, God. It just doesn't seem like he gets enough for being unable to objective.
If exceptional healing was still a thing, as Crop is pointing out, I think just maybe he might be there. He might be, but just the instant recovery just doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe he was designed with exceptional in mind, and then down the line they were like, exceptional is going too far. We don't want it to be too ubiquitous in the meta, so they just kind of they changed it, but Weapon X was already in the pipe, so it was too late.
Yeah.
That's my best guess, because Maverick on the other side seems like fun, but Weapon X, and then they also just nerfed the Weapon X leadership slightly.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that. I don't remember.
With a ruling, but basically the leader himself doesn't count himself.
Oh, for the gaining tokens part?
For gaining tokens, which is weird because it works in almost every other like aspect, like so it's like the Weapon X team for some reason just got like a 1-2 punch recently, and Weapon X is not going to fix it. Weapon X the character.
Mm-hmm. Is Maverick Weapon X?
Yes, he is Weapon X himself. Oddly enough, he's very good versus Weapon X because they have a ton of healing factors. And he basically shuts off healing. I think he might be a fun meta character. But like I said, he's just kind of a meta choice, and Weapon X feels bad, man. I don't see it.
Hmm.
2 turns of stunning a character and then he gets KO'd.
Yeah, and that's if you have priority.
Oh, and you got to give up like Logan
Right. Yeah.
or normal Wolverine. So because no offense, I'm not going to make X-23 my leader in Weapon X.
Right.
How does Weapon X compare to Nebula?
Nebula has the benefit of being a 2 cost.
Yeah, Nebula costs 2.
Because she can't contest objectives, right?
Right.
But she
rerolled any of her dice.
Yep.
If you're holding or contesting an objective, which is
She has 1 reroll in her
consistency.
die.
I don't know, man. Maybe
and then
Crimson
shock
Dynamo
on her
can keep him
basic.
alive.
I think Nebula's good. Like I keep there were people in Namor Bunker was like, you can also throw in Nebula and have even more rerolls. And suddenly it became like, let's just throw everybody who has a reroll in this team. What is it? Yeah, the affiliation Weapon X's are sure you want to remember. Yeah, you give it to the other Wolverine, and I don't see it happening.
And
You're gonna
even
play.
in Weapon X, isn't Honey Badger better than him?
You can play Honey Badger, who is also a 2, and she will sit in front of people and slowly advance your X-23 across the board.
Yeah.
She doesn't do as much damage, obviously, but
She's kind of her incinerate bubble.
Yeah. And you know what she can do? She can throw a Jonathan token on something, which Weapon X can never do. Like, she's one of my favorites for Apocalypse just because it's like, yes, please kill her. She wants to die. She gets me more Apocalypse tokens.
She hits well above her weight class, too, because she's a 5 on her builder for a 2 cost. Pretty up there.
Yeah. No. So, and I mean, that's just it. Like, in affiliation, Weapon X feels really bad. Out of affiliation, it's like, what are you thinking? It's got a 6 sculpt. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool classic Wolverine.
I will probably use him at some point. We'll see. Anybody else you guys have been looking at pretty fondly?
I mean, we know I've been looking at APOC.
Yeah.
Everything Apocalypse. I'm excited. I'm excited because it's like a brand new. It's like a whole new faction with its own thing. So you and I have talked about it. There's a lot of fun theory craft to go over. It's just all the possibilities seem fun more than anything.
Crop Circles brings up a great point. Weapon X is a 3 cost for Dormammu to revive.
Oh, I guess, yeah, okay. See, that might actually be the winner there. You just have Dormammu constantly resurrect him because he's just gonna and keep firing him like a missile to a point.
Well, he only does it once, but yeah.
I mean, true, but
Weapon X is not a horseman crop.
No, normal Wolverine is a war or death horseman.
And I know Wheelman's been looking at Dracula fondly. He seems incredible
like
to me.
I think they
Mephisto and Dracula.
I feel like they just put up something like pre-orders for Dracula.
They put up artwork.
Yeah, they made a post today. Yeah.
It's artwork for stuff that will be pre-orderable soon.
I do think it's funny that Dead by Daylight put out Castlevania and we're getting Dracula in the same year.
Vampires are in, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like phone wallpapers. It's got Dracula. I don't know the names. There's the werewolf, Frankenstein, and the mummy, and then there's the castle dungeon terrain. Then there's Hulk fighting some goons, it looks like.
Mhm.
And then Mephisto on a throne. And they're having a bracket challenge for
Oh,
Horsemen
the
of War.
horseman. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to paint a lot of sandstone when I get all that apocalypse terrain.
I told you to buy that Battlefield in a box that was at the store there. All,
I'm
like,
tempted to get
sandstone.
something like that to fill in because there's a lot to.
Oh, I don't think I saw
to
that.
do.
Yeah, it was right next to the paints.
It looked
Wow.
it looked like a battlefields like terrain for every minis game that's lasted for forever. Like you've seen this terrain. It's been in some stores terrain bin for
Right.
years.
Mm.
You've seen it before, but you've never actually seen it in the package.
All right. You guys got anything else?
I think we're good. It was a fun event. I hope I didn't sound like I was being mean to anybody because I didn't mean it.
We're
It
all
was a good day.
we're all still alive, barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good.
For now.
Aside from the gaming, it was an overall good day.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
All right. Then we're out of here. Keep it positive, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.